Welcome to Sam Outside. I'm Salmon. I'm outside enjoying a late afternoon walk. Absolutely stunning. My walking habit for stress relief and exercise has had to change in the past couple of weeks. It has been uncomfortably cold, almost unsafe, in fact. And my morning walks in the dark. That's right. So I've had to change the duration, the intensity, but also the frequency. So try to get the dog out a couple times a day, but got to make sure that both of us are safe. So we do have a little bit of a yard, and sometimes that's all he really needs is to go out. But we're not getting our exercise. We're not getting our steps, and that's okay. And what it really does for me is it makes the time that I do get outside in nature, when I can get out in the forest and when I can get out on Heart Lake, it just makes it so much more enjoyable. I'm so much more grateful for the ability to have more comfortable temperature, to have more time, to have more intention, to have more of an impact. And it really does help me not take for granted what it is I have an opportunity to do. And I feel it. I know that if I don't get out for my 20-minute half hour, if I know that I don't have the ability to get in a couple moments outside the way I want, all right, with the level of comfort that I want, I'm at a loss. And I really do feel it. And so I find myself looking out the window, checking the weather app, right? Like maybe tomorrow will be a better day. So I really do appreciate a little bit differently. All right. So it happens in other times of year as well, whether it's a thunderstorm or, the winds are too dangerous. And to be honest, there are some days in the spring where the bugs are just terrible, right? Oh, they're not comfortable. So that does take away from the moment. But today, it's still below freezing, and the winds were pretty significant this morning. But what's making the afternoon walks a little bit more pleasing is that I get to go out on the lake. And I had a bit of a nature moment this morning, and I know it's just been Indiana Bones and I out here, and we've had such strong winds that every adventure out on the lake, it's a new palette. It's fresh canvas. And this morning we did see some tracks, and I thought, well, it's pretty good of the neighbors to be out nice and early. I hadn't seen anybody else out on the lake. And then when I got closer, I realized that, well, they weren't human tracks at all. No, I had a pair of moose come across the lake, and it doesn't take long, but the tracks are pretty windswept. And I did have a chance to follow them. They came out across the lake, and it was two of them. They came out and they did a little browsing on the shore. One of them stayed on the ice, went up the lake, and the other one foraged just a little bit further in. So this is why I like getting out on the lake, right? He just gets to open up, right? So it's a little bit different. If I want to get some steps in, I don't have the duration. I can definitely change the intensity of our walk. Don't have so much time, but I can get him to sprint for a little bit. And I get to explore different parts of the lake. So there's some features on the shoreline on the opposite side that I might get to go see other times of year by canoe or by kayak, but it's not the same when I'm at this level and I can actually touch some of these dead standing. I can walk around and just marvel at how old some of these dead standing trees are and the effects of weathering it has on the wood. It's just fascinating. The textures are so different. But even just walking across this snow, I know this isn't doing it justice, but to look at the patterns and it changes every day. It'll change in a matter of minutes. So it's inspiring. and it's ever changing, which is why I love coming up to New York. I walk the same paths, the same forest every day, and it's different. And this is what I'm talking about. I can't come and visit this tree the same way at any other time of year to see the lichens and the mosses, and to appreciate the textures, the old man's beard. And as much as this tree is subject to decay, it's not the same if we're out in the middle of the forest. The fact that it's out here in the middle of the lake and not exposed to the same bacteria, the same boring insects, the same decomposers that you would find in the forest, where the biodiversity would be a little more rich, being sun bleached, being beaten by winds, just withers a little bit differently. So, very much looking forward to a new season out on the lake. There's lots of ice. The rest of the family is still a little hesitant to come out in the ice with me, but now that I know I've had 2 moose come across the ice, I mean, that's 1,000 pounds right there easily, right? Yeah, and they weren't nervous. So the dog and I will be okay. So as the seasons change, people are adapting to shorter days, colder nights. And a lot of people have begun their wintering habit. That's right, wintering. It's where we just settle in, resign ourselves to, well, time to slow down. Time to reinvest in our indoor hobbies. And for me, yeah, I'll get into some of that. Take a little more care into my firewood. Spend a little more time cozying up, exploring new tea combinations, get into some more soups. But it's far more to see now that our waterways are frozen. It's actually easier for me to go out and explore. It doesn't take me as long to get out. I can cover vast stretches of the forest. Looking forward to getting into some skis, getting into some snowshoes, and just seeing what other wildlife is out there and doing what I can to be active. And yeah, I don't have to spend as much time, but the act of being outside in winter is so beneficial. Just takes more energy. All right. There's so much more to see when it's comfortable and safe to do so, which is why I do not take for granted this time that I have. It's so much more special when I can find the 20 minutes and a half hour at this time of year to explore, to be outside. There are not so many of us that are doing it, so it just adds to being part of something special, which is why I want to share it. So thank you very much for watching. And if you hadn't heard me say it already, please go outside. It's so good for you. All right. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.